Have you ever wondered what living your true, authentic life would be like? And doing so fearlessly, undeniably, and unapologetically? Is such a way of life even possible? My answer is yes, it is. Welcome to my podcast, From Fearful to Fierce. My name is Sarah Udoh-Grossfurthner, and I will be using this space to share simple, easy to implement tips on how to become the best version of yourself by living authentically, unapologetically, undeniably, and fearlessly. From Fearful to Fierce is based on my FFTF trilogy, which is available on Amazon, by the way. A series on the importance of knowing, accepting, and loving one's self. So, whether you are struggling with imposter syndrome, self doubt, or just looking to level up your confidence game, this podcast has got you covered. So, get ready to take on the world one fearless step at a time as this podcast unravels and tackles some of the issues that prevents us from becoming the best version of ourselves. Once again, I'm your host, Sarah Udoh-Grossfurthner. Live like you own the world, but treat the world as if it is owned by everyone. That's the title of today's topic. And let's begin, as usual, with a story. Okay, some time ago, I was out on the street. It was late afternoon, early evening. It was a very beautiful day, and I decided to just stroll around the city. A lot of people were out on the street that day, and so there was this group of young guys, young boys, probably around 14 to 16 years old, maybe 7 of them or so. And they were all dressed very nicely. One guy in particular was really like hair gelled back, white shirt, and was feeling pretty cool about himself. I think they had just had some ice cream. And this one that was dressed really particularly nicely had just finished his ice cream. And so he was wiping his fingers with tissue. And when he was done, he just flicked the tissue on the street. And one of his friends just looked at him and said, Alter. Alter in German is a slang for, dude or guy or boy. And then pointed his to a trash can not very far from them, indicating that his friend should just have walked over there to drop his tissue there. And then he also then indicated that the friend should pick up the tissue. And the friend just looked at him and said, indicating himself that he was well dressed, like, I'm going to get myself all dirtied. And the experience actually reminded me of another experience that I'd witnessed some time ago in my country. I was actually with a friend, very posh lady. In our society in Nigeria, people who are a little like that, they are chauffeur driven, they have their own cars and they are drivers permanently. We were both sitting in the back of the car. So she just threw this pack of chewing-gum out a window. And I just said to her, but why are you throwing that? And she just looked at me and said, just this little pack of chewing gum. It's not going to make any difference. Look around you, the whole place, everyone's just dumping trash everywhere. I said to her, well, think about it. We are in a city of like maybe at that time, 15 to 20 million people. Say that each of those people, or even just 50% of those people, meaning like 10 million to 12.5 million people, say that half of those people were to just unwrap on any given day, to unwrap their chewing gum or their bit of biscuit or even sweet and throw the wrap out the window. Think about the collective volume of that, what that would mean to the city. Or rather, you're saying all the time that the city is dirty and people just throw trash everywhere. There are trash everywhere. And you have just done the same thing. These two incidences were not the only time I had witnessed people treat public property with such disrespect. The season that displays the extreme lack of concern for property or for public property or even the well-being of others within the community is during winter or at the beginning of winter. This is, of course, where you have a lot of cold. People have cold, they have cough, they are sneezing, their nose are running. You go down to the underground station and you see people just hack and just spit. They will blow their noses right there on the platforms of the train. They will spit right there, on the platform where people are sitting. They just hack and spit. And I often wonder, would they do the same thing at home? Would they spit in their sitting room, smack in their sitting room or in their kitchen in full view of their family members? And so if they would not do that, why do they feel so comfortable doing that in public properties? Because we talk about becoming the best version of ourselves here. And I've often asked, what does that mean? What does it mean to become the best version of oneself? The best version of oneself is not just so much about the way that we look at ourselves, because oftentimes we look at the best version of ourselves from the external perspective a lot. The way we talk, the way we dress, the way we conduct or comport ourselves. The emphasis is always on the way that we present to the outside world. But becoming the best version of oneself is much more than the external part of oneself. It is about the internal. It's, in a sense, about the mindset. The best version of yourself is about your mindset. And what that means is that it is about the way that you conduct yourself within the world that you live. The thing about looking great is that you're only as great or cool looking as the environment in which you live, you dwell. If that environment is not properly taken care of, sooner rather than later, the state of that environment will impact on you. And before you know it, your entire life, both the external as well as the physical, will begin to reflect the exact state of that environment. If you don't believe me, just look at the air that we breathe in today. Because it has become so polluted by the things we spew into it in the name of progress or just simply because of a lack of awareness with regard to the way we treat anything that we don't directly own. Because we see stuff we don't directly own as being not of much concern, we are seeing more and more airborne illnesses and diseases. Even when we had it in the past, when we used to have these illnesses or diseases in the past, some of these diseases were just referred to as old people sickness or diseases because only those who were old and infirmed were predisposed to having these kinds of illnesses. But today you are having 8-year-olds who are riddled with cancer. Not only are they riddled with cancer, you are having 8-year-olds with a heart attack. Think about that, an 8-year-old having a heart attack, having old people illnesses. And when you are done, ask yourself, is there anything I can do to better my environment? Do I have a healthy mindset with regard to the way that I use or treat public properties? The thing is, whether we realize it or not, whether we're willing to acknowledge it or not, whether we are even aware of it or not, whatever we don't treat right, whatever we are not wise enough to treat right, will end up making us not feel right. A typical example is the air that I've just mentioned. Because we are not treating our environment right, and therefore the air we breathe in become polluted. And because the air that we depend on to live has become polluted, we are also ending up polluted. We are facing all kinds of illnesses, all kinds of diseases. And not only are we facing them, our young children are also facing them. And so when we think about becoming the best version of ourselves, the way to realize or actualize the best version of yourself is by realizing that you are a part of the whole. And for the whole to work, or for you yourself to work, the whole also has to work. If I were to quantify the best version of oneself, or what that looks like, I would say that the best version of oneself is 20% external and 80% internal, maybe even higher. Because what is inside is what ultimately becomes the outside. If the inside is beautiful, the outside will become beautiful. It's a little bit like computer programming. What you put in it is also what you get out of it. If you put in rubbish, it's going to also produce rubbish. So, in conclusion, live in the world like you own it, but treat the world as if it is owned by everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, this is From Fearful to Fierce by Sarah Udoh-Grossfurthner. Until next time, keep striving to become the best version of yourself. Live intentionally, be unapologetic, be bold, be fearless. Before I forget, don't forget to subscribe to my podcast, like the different episodes, and press the notification button so that when I bring out new episodes, you'll be notified. Thank you very much. Until next time.